Hey guys, Gary Markiston here, and I will be reviewing another book, graphic novel. This time I will be reviewing Guardian Devil by Kevin Smith, art by Joe Cascada. This is the book, I picked it up about 8 months ago, maybe, around there. This is the book that got me to love Daredevil. In this book, it's still in the dark and gritty feel of the Daredevil comics as they were for a long time after Frank Miller's run back in the 80s. But this book kind of is one of the good books that takes the dark and gritty feel and actually makes a good storyline instead of just Daredevil whining about everything. It starts off with he's in. Another thing I like about this book is the religious feel to it, because it starts off where he's in a confession booth. "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned. It's been a long time since my last confession." And he's talking to him about that. And in the middle of it, he leaves to go do a Daredevil thing, which I found rude. He does it twice in this book. He's in the middle, the father's in the middle of talking, and he just leaves the confession booth. But whatever, that's not important. And so it starts off the book. He's still deeply religious, and obviously in his Christian faith, and he's talking, "Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned." But throughout the book, he's sort of losing his religious faith, and near the middle of it, he's kind of questioning whether there is a God or not. And of course, at the end, he eventually goes back into the confession booth and asks for forgiveness again, and again in the middle of it leaves to go do his father's work. I don't know why he left the confession booth twice. I just found that really weird. I don't know. He's deeply religious, then he comes and he shouldn't have even come. Anyway, that's not what I'm talking about today. Another thing I really like about this book is the artwork. It's realistic, but it's not at the same time. It's really good drawn, because it's realistic, but it's also cartoony. Like, it has the comic feel to it, but it's not like Civil War, where it looks like almost photographs realistic. Throughout this book, it's him through a series of events. Someone's trying to make his life a living hell, which isn't that hard, because, of course, Daredevil's like the punching bag of the Marvel Universe. It seems like almost if writers have a bad day, then they're just like, "Oh, I'm gonna go write Daredevil," and then they just dump a bunch of shit on him, and yeah, stuff like that. This book, spoilers, it's probably not a spoiler, is the book where Karen Page dies, which a lot of people used to be saying when the book came out, that how could you do that? Like, Karen Page was like one of the main characters for a while in Daredevil. She was in the first Daredevil. How could you just kill her? But I think she died a pretty good death. And she would have died anyway in this book, because, of course, she had AIDS at the beginning of the book, she found out. But before she could die of that, she jumps in front of Daredevil, gets hit with his billy club, goes right through her stomach by Bullseye, who says, "Oops, I missed," something like that, and smiles. And that puts Matt Murdock into a deep depression, and because it's at that point, a bunch of stuff has already happened to him he's in care of this baby that he thinks is the Antichrist. He's been put on this drug to make him go crazy and, like, kill everyone, and he has a horrible sense of judgment, and when she dies, he gets suicidal, doesn't even want to leave his apartment, and eventually she comes to him in a vision, and tells him to keep going through, to push through and find out who's doing this to him. And eventually, it's Mysterio that does this to him. In the end, who he kills. Anyway, I really liked this book. I think you should pick it up, and if you haven't already. And that's all I really got to say about it. Thank you. And a review by Gary Markston.